All right. Welcome back, my regular viewers, listeners, and watchers. And of course, if you happen to be here for the very first time, welcome. Before I go any further, my name is Rahul George, India's premier self hypnosis coach and your personal guide. So, we seem to be definitely on a winning streak because as I was getting ready and staying open to the topic for today, and for today's pod, um, I had this brainwave that, especially if you're somebody, if you're a kid from the 70s for sure, and probably even the 80s, you'll probably remember that there was this thing called the Swiss pen knife, right? It was this. I mean, the original color was it was almost like a wine red colored knife, and it was literally like a multi tool. And I'm talking obviously India in the 70s for sure, but definitely the 80s, where most uh, middle class households did have a Swiss Army penknife. Now, depending on how adventurous you were, depending on who that relative was who had traveled abroad and come back, you would either have, the Swiss Army penknife with just a few multi tools in it, or you'd have those really thick, chunky ones, right? With probably like 20 different blades or 30 different blades. Now, the reason why I'm taking you down memory lane, especially like I said, if you're a kid of the 70s and the 80s, is that even now, as I'm just reflecting on the day gone by and yesterday as well, I'm reminded of how powerful and how versatile um, my and how amazing my muse is. And by that I mean my muse. I consider hypnosis uh, and of course self hypnosis to be my muse, because when I think of hypnosis, when I am in hypnosis, when I am leading others in hypnosis, I am no longer, you know, I'm no longer thinking. I'm just being, I'm allowing ideas just flow. And because I know that I am doing this literally for the good of whoever, happens to be in front of me. Now, this could be one person, especially let's say in a coaching environment, a coaching situation, or it could be even with a group, right? But what's important is that I no longer need to try and control the frame. Right? I just allow the words to flow, and I can definitely tell you that this creates some really, really massive transformations, and I've seen quite a lot over the years, and especially today. When whether I'm working with um, people who I've met for the very first time, or my regular clients, or even when I'm working with family, right? To me, I truly, truly believe that I consider myself to be blessed to be in this position, to really be able to be of help, be that Swiss Army penknife. And likewise, I consider hypnosis and self hypnosis to be that tool. The reason why I say that, and the reason why I say this, is because I may be using the same, uh, let's say, maybe a hypnosis technique, or a hypnosis tool, right? Depends on how you want to classify it. But the same tool gets to be used in different ways. The same tool has many different uses. And, it's not about being fancy, but instead it's about getting results. And I'm amazed, whether this is uh, working with people who are in their 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s, teens, you name it. Um, like every single day, I'm reminded of how blessed and how amazing uh, my life is, that I get to do this every day, that I get to be able to help other people. And that's honestly, that's one of the reasons why I do um, this pod. I make it a point to show up, because I know that this is literally like being that farmer that's just sowing seeds. Uh, my job is to do that. My job is to show up and to do it effortlessly, because I know that this is what is reaching you. Now, for some of you, maybe your time is now and that's why you're receiving it now. For some of you, maybe you're watching this later as a recording, which could be, weeks, months, or even years later. It doesn't really matter. What's important is that um, you have this opportunity to be able to um, truly change the way you think. And rather than focusing on trying to change negative, whatever you feel is negative in you, rather than trying to change that, it's almost like a vice grip, meaning it's like I'm demonstrating here for those of you who are watching, of course, for those of you who are listening. Basically, it's like, it's like pliers, right? Once they, go shut, it's really difficult to un it's difficult to open a vice grip, right? Today I'm talking all DIY metaphors. Um, yeah, I mean, obviously, I am a big fan of DIY shows, so that's probably also what's rubbing off right now. But the point is this: when you have negative beliefs about yourself, the more you try and change them, the more you try and push them away, the tighter they will get, right? Which means the harder it is to change your negative self beliefs. Instead, and this is my offer to you, that what if you just began to, and what if you just focused on building new, powerful, and positive self beliefs? And this could be, like we talk about the 5 streams. This could be in the area of health, wealth, relationships, spirituality, and purpose. Even if you start with one of these areas in your life, maybe you can take high stakes, like maybe you really want something in a particular area in your life, you can start there. Or you take the absolute low stakes, meaning where you're like, yeah, I've got nothing to lose, let me start there. I can promise you this: whichever area in your life you focus on and you start to build positive self beliefs, in a matter of days, months, you will actually be a completely different person. Now, don't just take my word for it, test it out, right? And definitely come back and let me know how your experiments went and what benefits that you received. Because I truly, truly, truly believe that this is possible. So, um, obviously, there's more to share, more to say, and I'm sure in the coming days there will be more opportunities to have these conversations. But for now, I want to just remind you that you can build positive self beliefs. And, my special people, my favorite people, digital coaches, if you are at that point in your life right now where you've already done a lot, right? And you've um, focused on, the business side of what you do, where you've, spent time, money, and effort in learning, and buying the latest tools and technology, and, working with mentors. But somehow, when you look at your bank balance, it doesn't, something's not adding up. I can promise you this: if you choose to do the self work, if you choose to focus on creating new, powerful, positive self beliefs, it's just a matter of time before things will just flip around, right? They will go 360, right? So if this is something that you've been wanting to hear, if this is something that you truly believe that, yeah, you know what, I've tried everything else, I've got nothing else to lose, let me just give this a go, let me test this out. Please treat this um, message as an invitation. And I've simplified the process. So on Sunday at 11 a.m., I've created a workshop which is called Mera Number Kab Aayega. And this is a workshop that is open especially to digital coaches. If you're not a digital coach, I do have something special that I am brewing. So definitely give me a shout out. Reach out to me on whether it's on YouTube or on Facebook or Instagram. Um, and I'll tell you more about that. But if you are a digital coach and you are now, you know, wanting to make that shift, do come. And like I said, this is 11 a.m. The process is pretty straightforward. It's a 60-minute session. It's a way for you to see how you can actually experiment with, explore, and benefit from the power of self hypnosis. So I look forward to seeing you there. And of course, before I go, just remember, if there's any way in which I can help you, just reach out, drop me a message, and I'll do everything in my power to be able to help you. With that, I will, of course, be back for yet another pod tomorrow. And before I go, just remember, right, to live with purpose. So see you in the next one. Thank you for listening, especially if you've made it all the way to this part of the pod. Just drop a hashtag. The hashtag is MNKA, right? Remember, the workshop is called Mera Number Kab Aayega. So that's MNKA. I'll know that you reached this point of it's like Colin and Samir call it the deep end. So we'll call it the MNKA. That's the hashtag. So definitely drop that in the comment. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care and wish you all the very best. Bye-bye. See you in the next one.